What if the breakfast you eat every single morning, the one you believe is healthy, is actually working against you? Think about it. You wake up, maybe still a little tired, trying to do the right thing for your body. You walk into the kitchen, open the fridge or the pantry, and you reach for one of two things: a warm bowl of oatmeal or a cup of yogurt. It feels like a good choice, a smart choice, a healthy lifestyle kind of choice. But here's the uncomfortable question. What if one of those is quietly draining your energy just a few hours later? What if it's making you hungrier, not fuller? What if it's slowing down your fat loss, or even messing with your digestion, and you don't even realize it? Every morning, millions of people make this exact decision: oatmeal or yogurt. And both of them have been labeled as superfoods. Both are recommended by health experts. Both show up in fitness routines, diet plans, and social media posts. But here's the truth most people never hear. These two foods behave very differently inside your body. Depending on your goal, whether it's losing weight, building muscle, improving your gut health, or just having stable energy throughout the day, one of these breakfasts could be significantly better than the other. So in this video, we're going to break it all down in the simplest way possible. No complicated jargon, no confusion, just clear, science-backed insights to help you finally choose the right breakfast for your body. Because once you understand this, your mornings will never be the same again. The real problem isn't that oatmeal or yogurt are unhealthy. The problem is that most people are choosing between them without actually understanding what they do inside the body. You've probably heard the common advice: oatmeal is heart healthy, yogurt is good for your gut. These labels sound simple, reassuring, almost automatic. So you follow them. You build habits around them. You trust that you're doing the right thing. But here's where things start to fall apart. Most people aren't eating plain oatmeal. They're eating instant packets loaded with added sugar, artificial flavors, and processed grains that digest much faster than you think. What feels like a slow, steady breakfast can actually spike your blood sugar quickly, giving you a short burst of energy, followed by a crash that hits before lunchtime. And yogurt? It's even more misleading. Walk into any grocery store, and you'll see rows of yogurt marketed as healthy. But flip the label, and you'll often find something shocking. Some of these yogurts contain as much sugar as a dessert. Fruit on the bottom, flavored varieties, low-fat options packed with additives. They look healthy, but they behave very differently in your body. So what happens next? Around 10 or 11 a.m., you start feeling hungry again. Your focus drops. Your energy dips. Maybe you reach for coffee, a snack, or something sweet just to get through the rest of the morning. And over time, this pattern becomes your normal. You're trying to eat better. You're making what you believe are smart choices. But instead of feeling energized, full, and in control, you feel stuck, confused about why your body isn't responding the way you expected. And that's the core issue. It's not about choosing oatmeal or yogurt. It's about choosing without understanding. Because once you actually understand how these foods affect your blood sugar, your hunger hormones, and your digestion, the decision becomes much clearer. So let's break it down in a way that finally makes sense. Now let's slow things down and really understand what's happening inside your body when you eat oatmeal versus yogurt, because this is where everything starts to click. Imagine your breakfast not just as food, but as a signal. The moment you take your first bite, your body begins making decisions: how much insulin to release, how fast to burn energy, how long you'll feel full, even how your gut bacteria respond. And oatmeal and yogurt send very different signals. Let's start with oatmeal. Oatmeal is primarily made up of carbohydrates, specifically complex carbs. That sounds like a good thing, and it often is. These carbs break down into glucose, which your body uses as energy. Oats also contain a special type of fiber called beta-glucan, which helps slow digestion and can support heart health by lowering cholesterol levels. On paper, it looks like the perfect start to your day. But here's where nuance matters. Not all oatmeal behaves the same. If you're eating steel-cut oats or rolled oats, the digestion process is slower, giving you a more gradual release of energy. But if you're eating instant oatmeal, the kind most people grab because it's convenient, it's already processed. That means your body can break it down much faster, causing your blood sugar to rise quickly. And when blood sugar rises quickly, it tends to fall quickly too. That's the energy crash people don't expect. Now compare that to yogurt, especially Greek yogurt. Yogurt shifts the conversation from carbohydrates to protein. Protein is powerful because it slows down digestion and triggers hormones that tell your brain you're full. Greek yogurt, in particular, is strained to remove excess liquid, which concentrates the protein content. So instead of a carb-dominant meal, you're starting your day with something that stabilizes your energy. And that difference, carbs versus protein, changes everything. When you eat a high-carb meal like oatmeal on its own, your body leans toward quick energy usage. When you eat a high-protein meal like yogurt, your body leans toward sustained energy and reduced hunger. That's why some people feel full for hours after yogurt, while others feel hungry again not long after eating oatmeal. But there's another layer most people overlook: your gut. Oatmeal contains prebiotic fiber. Think of this as food for your existing gut bacteria. It helps the good bacteria in your digestive system grow and thrive. Yogurt, on the other hand, contains probiotics, live bacteria that actually add to your gut ecosystem. So oatmeal feeds the bacteria you already have, while yogurt introduces new ones. This distinction is important. If your gut health is already strong, feeding it with fiber can be incredibly beneficial. But if your gut is out of balance, adding probiotics through yogurt might be more impactful. Ideally, your body benefits from both. Now let's talk about fullness and weight control. A lot of people assume that fiber automatically means fullness, and that's partially true. Oatmeal can make you feel full initially because it expands in your stomach and slows digestion. But because it's relatively low in protein, that feeling doesn't always last. Your hunger hormones can rebound sooner than you expect. Yogurt tells a different story. Protein has a stronger effect on satiety hormones like peptide YY and GLP-1, which signal to your brain that you've had enough to eat. This means you're less likely to snack later, less likely to overeat at lunch, and more likely to stay within your calorie goals without even trying. That's why yogurt often has the edge for fat loss, but oatmeal still has its place. If you're someone who exercises in the morning, runs, or needs long-lasting fuel for endurance, those complex carbohydrates can be incredibly useful. They provide a steady stream of energy that supports performance. Yogurt alone might not give you that same fuel. And then there's digestibility. Some people feel perfectly fine eating oats, while others experience bloating or discomfort, especially if they're sensitive to certain grains or fiber types. On the yogurt side, lactose intolerance can be a factor. However, Greek yogurt tends to have lower lactose levels, making it easier for many people to tolerate. So when you step back and look at the full picture, something becomes clear. This isn't a battle between good and bad. It's a comparison between two very different nutritional tools. One leans toward carbohydrates and fiber, the other toward protein and probiotics. One fuels quickly, the other sustains longer. One feeds your gut, the other builds it. And that leads to the most important realization of all. There is no single best breakfast for everyone. There is only the breakfast that aligns with your body, your lifestyle, and your goals. Once you understand that, you stop guessing, and you start choosing with intention. So now that you understand how oatmeal and yogurt actually behave inside your body, the next question becomes much simpler, but also much more powerful. What should you actually eat? Instead of asking which one is better in general, you start asking a smarter question. What is better for me right now, based on my goal? If your goal is fat loss, the answer becomes clear. You want something that keeps you full longer, stabilizes your blood sugar, and reduces the chances of snacking later. In that case, Greek yogurt becomes a very strong choice. Its high protein content helps control hunger hormones, and when you choose plain, unsweetened versions, you avoid the hidden sugars that sabotage progress. But if your goal is energy, especially if you're active in the morning or need sustained fuel to perform, oatmeal starts to make more sense. Those complex carbohydrates provide a steady release of energy that your body can use over time. This is why endurance athletes often rely on oats as a foundational meal. And then there's a third option that most people completely overlook, even though it might be the most effective of all. You don't have to choose between oatmeal and yogurt. You can combine them. When you bring them together, something interesting happens. You're no longer relying only on carbs or only on protein. You're creating balance. The fiber from the oats slows digestion. The protein from the yogurt keeps you full, and together they stabilize your energy in a way that neither one can do alone. This is where the idea of a perfect breakfast formula comes in. Instead of focusing on a single food, you build a simple structure. You include protein, fiber, and healthy fats. For example, you might take oats and mix them with Greek yogurt, then add a handful of berries for antioxidants, some nuts for healthy fats, and maybe a sprinkle of seeds for extra fiber and omega-3s. Suddenly, your breakfast isn't just healthy, it's strategic. At the same time, it's just as important to know what to avoid. Those instant oatmeal packets with added sugar, they defeat the purpose. Flavored yogurts that taste like dessert? Same problem. These are the versions that create blood sugar spikes, energy crashes, and unnecessary calorie intake. Small upgrades can completely change the outcome. If you prefer oatmeal, choose steel-cut or rolled oats, and consider adding a source of protein, maybe a scoop of protein powder, some yogurt on top, or even eggs on the side. If you prefer yogurt, go for plain Greek yogurt and add natural sweetness like fruit or a little honey instead of processed sugar. And if you want something simple and convenient, overnight oats with Greek yogurt might be one of the best options available. It's easy, balanced, and ready when you wake up. So the real takeaway isn't about picking sides. It's about building a breakfast that actually works for your body. Once you start doing that, everything changes. Your energy becomes more stable, your hunger becomes more predictable, and your results, whether that's weight loss, and better digestion, or improved performance, start to follow naturally. So when you step back and look at everything we've just covered, the answer becomes much clearer, but maybe not in the way you expected. Oatmeal gives you energy. Yogurt gives you protein. One fuels your body quickly, the other helps sustain you longer. But when you understand how they work, you realize something even more important. It's not about choosing one over the other. It's about choosing what your body actually needs. Because the moment you stop blindly following healthy food trends and start understanding how food works inside you, everything changes. Your mornings feel different. Your energy becomes more stable. You stop chasing snacks. You stop guessing. And that's the real goal. So now I want to hear from you. Are you team oatmeal or team yogurt? Or maybe after watching this, you're thinking about combining both in a smarter way. Let me know in the comments what your go-to breakfast looks like. I read every single one, and if you found this helpful, if it changed the way you think about something as simple as breakfast, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because we're breaking down nutrition in a way that actually makes sense. And in the next video, we're tackling another big question: eggs versus smoothies. You might be surprised which one comes out on top.